Mm-hmm.
Is everything ready? I already have like 9 scheduled to go.
Yeah, it works. Everything's fine. You got 9. You already done
Yes,
9?
because I'm going to be traveling this week and next weekend, and by the time I get back, it'll be the 9th.
Yeah. The only thing I have some stuff written down that I'm going to do. I'll finish working on those tomorrow, but what I was doing was the application I use on the back end for dog days.
Yes.
Everything works on my local machine, which is really my test machine. And there was a couple of permission errors I was trying to track down before the thing actually starts tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
But the really cool, it's pretty simple. I'll figure it out in a minute. But the really cool thing is, before this application that I've written today, there was a lot of go edit this, change this file to say this, and start the cron job on stop the cron job when we're done. Well, now it's just going to run all year round, and it'll stop and start when the dates are in that are I've got, I put in the database. I just go fill out the form and say, here's a dog days event, here's the start date, here's the end date, and then people can go in and sign up for that particular event, and they got usernames now. Like everybody's.
You learned a thing or two about writing a system application from.
Well, no, the problem was I wrote the system last time and I used it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I just didn't go back and I made a couple of tweaks. I just didn't do anything more. So I took it upon myself to rewrite it this year. Now we can do like the Christmas one, or anytime somebody wants, like we did the quarantine, I can just make an event and turn it on.
Dog Days of St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
The challenge is to make a podcast a day for St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. I should do that for April Fools.
The Dog Days of April Fools.
Yeah. Yeah, I should.
And the challenge to the listener is to listen to all of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, we got a report card. I've got 14 people in there.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah, that's pretty good
this year. Let's see how many stick with it.
Let's see, users. Yeah, 14. So yeah, it's a pretty good group. I think because we've had as many as 17, and I was hoping to kind of push it up a little bit, but that's pretty good.
17 was our top? I thought we had more than that at one time.
I think last time.
Well, we started out with what, 5? So we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it has grown, which is really cool. Let's see, RSS.
All right, you're making for a really riveting video now.
I know.
Here, I'll take care of the banner while you're doing that. This is our pre-show.
Let's see. Log
Clinton
in.
is on.
Where's it at?
Clinton said, "Sorry, I let you down. He will not be one of the podcasts this year for understandable reasons. He's already invested. He's hitched his wagon to the Batter Days series that he's been doing, and that one is monumental in comparison to anything that we would be doing on a daily basis." Hi, John Miller Jr.
There you go. So last time, let's see, I have to count them because my application is getting spammed now. My old one, which is kind of what led me to redo this thing.
Sure.
So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 was last time. Now look, I had 17. It says feeds 46. Well, if I scroll down, I see DC stopped Batman from performing on Catwoman. I see Sony A7C. It's just a bunch of crap. It's not even so. Hopefully, I kind of had that off. I need to do a few more things on this application, but that does nothing that stop it from running tomorrow. It's ready to go.
You're ready to start doing a podcast now?
Oh yeah. Hey, we can start off our dog days.
No.
Does this count? Does this count when I record it? No.
Because this one doesn't come out till Wednesday, so you've already failed for 2 days.
Well, no. I mean, I'm just saying, does this count for Wednesday?
No. Not in the feed.
Not in the feed. I can't make it in the feed.
Let's not and say we didn't.
I was
You're
using
not
it
putting
as a
an
test.
hour-long show in that feed. No one will listen to it.
Yeah, I was using
no one listens to it as it is.
Yeah, right. Well, there's 2 people, I see.
They're not listening. It's background noise.
Yeah. All right, let me open this up. I think, there was one thing I did not put in here. I'd noticed it earlier was a Twitter. We got a Twitter.
We got a Twitter.
Yeah, let me go. I'll pull it up so
All
we
right.
have it for the.
You go do that while we're doing the intro.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to hit the big old record button on the audio recorder. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Technorama episode 681. That's why I knocked. Hey, welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And if you are returning, we welcome you back. Everyone is welcome, newcomers and old-timers alike. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and joining me as always is Mr. Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. I'm a little nervous, ready for tomorrow, as we were talking.
Tomorrow tomorrow, as we record this, is
Mhm.
the start of
Dog Days of Podcasting.
one of your lasting legacies. I think we even featured that in the last 2 episodes or the 2 editions of Podcasting for Dummies. Oh,
Yeah.
what a plug. I happen to have one.
That's right. I know. Hey, I was telling somebody the other day, I know what it was. At work, they were talking about, now that our book, our WordPress book is very old now, but somebody at work mentioned, I don't want to use WordPress. It's not that great. I was like, well, wait a minute. I wrote a book
What else
on
are
it.
you going to use?
I said, wait a minute. I wrote a book on it. And they're like, you did? I was like, I sent them a link to the Amazon listing. I said, there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm not using WordPress because it was written by you and that Tomasi guy.
That's right. Yeah.
We already have a reputation at work, and it's not for WordPress.
Yeah. Right. That's true. I did, it's fun. Interestingly enough, I saw an article not too long ago. It said other options if you didn't want to use WordPress, and there's some other ones that are there and they're pretty good. So there's always something, but yeah, I like WordPress because it's extensible.
Yep. All right, shall we get into our feedback?
Yes.
Let's play that music. Do we even know where we got this music?
Online, actually from
Men and Gay.
Yeah, the former occupant of that
came with the house, just like us.
I'm surprised
we've been using this before we got the house.
Not living there.
Oh boy, mailman, mail today.
No, we've been using this music since before we got the house. It probably did come from Men and Gay at one point.
I think he did give it to us. So,
Our question of the week at this point, well, that whole electromagnetic theme, this one, that's from him. In fact, Slice of Sci-Fi used that in their latter few years. But
you know what I think you know what I think we should do?
Yeah.
On one of our shows coming up, we should use only old IDs and clips that we used to.
We don't have a whole lot of old clips because we just didn't do some of these segments back then.
Oh yeah, we got a few.
Okay, you go figure out what they are and if we still have them.
Why do I have to do all the work?
Because it's your dumbass idea. You already have things to do like fix Santa.
Look, I already stopped coming up with ideas with my wife. I'm going to stop doing them here too.
You don't get any argument from me. That's what I tell all the functions that don't pass any parameters. You'll get no arguments here.
Right.
That's
God.
Developer joke.
Womp, 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 womp.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry, I got 2 buttons at once. Our question of the week. Let's start there.
Right.
Our question of the week last episode was, what's something that's always wrongly depicted in movies and TV shows? And oh man, we got some great answers this time around.
I want to start off. I got a Twitter. I was starting to say it again. I got a tweet from Dave Roth, and he says, laboratories in real life, they're cluttered, badly lit, and any liquid you see is clear and not bubbling or smoking. and there aren't any open flames and electric arcs everywhere, like in a.
I don't know that I would say they're messy all the time. Depends on what kind of laboratory you're dealing with.
No, but I would say that a laboratory is a real one is in stark contrast to what they show in the movies.
No arcs, bzz, bzz,
Yeah, that's right.
Jacob's ladders, and what do you in a Frankenstein movie from the 40s? I'm not sure what's going on here.
That's right.
Well, thank you, David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth.
You said Dave Roth, so
Dave Roth. Yeah,
I mean that's his, walking around the street name.
Right.
So our comments from the Technorama channel. Thank you everybody who participated with that on Facebook. We got one from Lone Guys Night. He says computer hacking. How people actually talk on phones, for instance. They typically say goodbye in some way, but not in movies. Yes, that's a well-known trope. People just stop talking and hang up. Like, well, goodbye to you too.
Right.
Once you notice it, it's extremely frustrating. Like, he also says how quickly a computer can, quote, enhance an image. And this came up on someone else's thread too. It's like, yeah, they've got this grainy old image and they tell the computer to enhance or
yeah. And you see the pixelation disappear.
You can read a license plate from across town.
Hey, well, we've been reviewing Star Trek Enterprise, and there was one episode where they look down on the planet and are able to see what the people look like.
Yes,
and fake papers that
were in their pocket. That was amazing. Yeah,
yeah.
He says ancient Egypt and English spoken in space on every planet Earth people go to. Yes, I agree. But that I just chalked that up to the universal translator at one point. Yeah. Mike Robeson responded to Lone Guys Night and said, speaking good English, period.
Right. Speaking English good, period.
People on TV shows speak good English. People in real life don't speak good English.
Yeah.
You want to continue?
Yeah, our buddy Clinton Alvord says explosions. Not everything that crashes explodes.
Someone's been watching the A-Team.
Hey, well, I hope I'm not. I don't have the video doesn't exist anymore. But he did a. What was that? What was that, Clinton?
Oh yes,
edit the 5,000 explosions, and I'm trying to remember what it was. But I did see it before it exploded in itself. That was kind of fun.
My good friend and jiu-jitsu instructor says the speed it takes for a rear naked choke to work, and often horribly applied. To which Larry responds, that and explosions with massive fireballs. And I responded to Kent. I said, OMG, Kent. I just said that to Donna last night while watching a movie, and Donna had to tell me to stop shouting at the TV.
Right.
About the rear naked choke. And how they assume that a rear naked choke is always lethal, especially if horribly applied too. Have you ever been in a rear naked chokehold? It cuts off the blood supply. And unless you hold it there till the person's dead, as soon as you let go, they're going to pass out. They're going to come back.
It's a sleeper hold. It's like
exactly. It's like they're not always lethal. It's like TV. You got to love it.
Gary Lindra says, how fast DNA results come back.
Or just, you can solve a crime in an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
Steve Lennon has a few. He says, guns. Always guns.
Right.
I think it was the movie Black Hawk Down where half of the aim points were mounted backwards and stuff like that. And anything computer related, hackers or the net, he has those in quotes, hackers or the net. Just saying. But the hacking scene in Swordfish was epic and totally accurate. Exactly like working with ServiceNow.
I know. Yeah. Well, one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies is Hackers, and there's nothing really real about that. So I can suspend suspend animation. I can suspend belief just to enjoy it though. Mike Robeson says farming, repairing large machinery, cat juggling.
I've heard of that.
Blowing up the Death Star. Eating ice cream.
Wait, blowing up the Death Star. How does he know what blowing up the Death Star in real life really takes?
Maybe he's done it. We don't know.
It can't be done.
It can't be done. That's what they told him. That's what the rebels said, but Luke didn't listen, and he did it anyway. You got some comments on yours too.
Eating ice cream, sound effects, background noises, a Wilhelm scream. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, sound effects, the vacuum in space, in the vacuum of space.
Yes. Oh, are you reading mine now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I
I'm
was
stealing yours.
It's always some kind of technology that is down wrong, says Mike Hamilton.
Yeah.
Mike Wills came back with the camera technology thing as well. Mike Stockman says screens zooming by as someone is feverishly typing and hitting the return key. I don't know if you saw that CSI clip with 2 people on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's a classic. This girl is watching, all these. It looks like a pop-up ad blocker got failed. And it's just like window. Oh, he's coming in through the IP firewall. They're just shouting out jargon at this, and she's banging on the keyboard as fast as she can. And then this guy stands right next to her and says, "Here, let me see if I can help." And he starts typing on the same keyboard at the same time.
It's not a piano. Oh boy,
it was hysterical.
What was that? Well, that's the other thing that kind of throws me off in movies when they're typing, and you can see they're clearly not really hitting the keys, or they're doing it in a crazy little fashion where it doesn't look believable, like they're just typing something. Well, how hard is it? Just type something. Doesn't have to be right. Just Anyway.
Tim Cook said, "How fast dial-up connected?" And he would know, being an Apple employee.
He might be. No, it's not an Apple employee. But yes,
Tim Cook is an Apple employee. Not our Tim Cook, perhaps.
Maybe
we
not
don't
this
know that
one.
for certain.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny how quick they could get on the internet back in the day.
Oh, that leads us to a question that's coming up. So hang on to that thought.
All right.
That is our question of the week. Trudging on, please explain this text message and tell me you did not click the link.
No, I didn't click it. Oh, I meant to make that not a link.
Please, people.
There we go. No, I did not click the link. By the way, if you want to text us, you can text us at the same number. You don't have to just call us. So if you want,
we don't advertise that often enough.
No. So tweet. You can send a tweet. You can send a voice.
I got it right here.
Text us. Now, what's funny is I happened to look at our Google voicemail.
What's our Twitter handle? It's been so long.
Huh?
Is it Technorama Podcast?
What's that?
Did someone tweet you directly, or did they tweet our Twitter handle?
No, I shared out the question of the week on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody sent a tweet to Technorama Podcast.
They did. That's exactly what they did. They replied to the tweet.
You were not listening. I said, "What is our Twitter handle? Is it Technorama Podcast?"
No. I did. I said yes. I mean, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the old married couple part of the program.
I did share this out on our Twitter account, which is Technorama Podcast. So you can find us there or anywhere else. But you can. My point being, I'm going back to what I was talking about. You can send us a voicemail, or you can send us a text message as well. Just saying that's an option. And of course, Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. But I got this one. I looked in there and I noticed there was a text message, and it says, "Your card was just tried at McDonald's for $20.11. Visit." There's a link there. "If this was not you," and it's definitely not a McDonald's domain.
Well, and half of the letters in here have really weird characters in them. The O on your has a dot above it. The R on card has a dot above it. The U in the J isn't even a just. I mean, the J isn't a J. It's an upside down something. And the U has this little P hook on it.
It looks like a cup. It looks like a cup.
It looks like a coffee cup. It does. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of weird dots and squiggles on some of these characters. What? Are they writing in kanji or something? I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And then, of course, the domain itself is a safe info 19.
John Miller Jr. says, "Stop correcting the scams, Chuck."
Yeah, I'm gonna take that link out. Link.
Yeah. Read closely, everybody.
There you go.
It only takes one phishing attack to ruin your whole personal identity.
Visit link. If that was not you, I took the link out.
Visit. Thank you.
I wouldn't have published it on WordPress like that.
We don't want that coming back to us.
No, not at all.
All right. Email from Sweet Steve.
Yep.
He says, a few episodes ago on episode 678, the question of the week was, what is your comfort series to watch over and over again? He said, I state that I have to evaluate Game of Thrones a bit before it ended up on that list. And now I have. COVID gave me that time and does. Oh, sorry to hear you got COVID, buddy. It's sooner or later, everybody's going to get it. It's kind of like the flu at this point. He says, but with that, I also have revisit the last question as well on episode 680, I think he means. What is the saddest on-screen death of all time? And he covered one that we did not get on our other channels. He said it had to be Hodor's death on Game of Thrones, together with Wash. I didn't know Hodor didn't die with Wash. If you're,
I was going to say, what that crossover or something? I didn't catch it.
The door was closed, which is why Wash.
Well, I still haven't watched Game of Thrones
at all. I watched. I think I never watched the last season. Maybe it was the last two. I can't remember where it
I guess
ended.
I should. I don't know.
It took forever to come out, and I just lost interest. And I don't have HBO Max or anything.
So that's why I'm not affected by Hodor's death, because although I know who he is because we saw cosplay and everything else, and I was like, what is he doing? And I figured it out pretty quick. But,
there was a guy cosplaying as Hodor, and he had like a door on his back.
Yeah. Right. Hey, you know what? Speaking of COVID, real quick, you know what's funny is, I know you've had it, others had it. I read an article the other day that said about 70% of the U.S. has had it. I still have not.
Well, and I also heard people say, if you think you've had it already, you probably haven't.
Right.
The only way to really confirm that you have is get tested and have it come back and say positive.
Well, that's what. Yeah. Well, I saw my doctor the other day, and I asked him about that. He's like, "You haven't?" I was like, "No, I haven't." He's
Come on, Craig, join the club.
He said, He did mention. He said, "Well, you could be one of those people that have immunity to it." I was like, "I'd be nice to know, but I don't know."
Yeah.
But what's funny is we had a little reunion, like a interim reunion for our high school, and some of those people came back and had gotten COVID from there, because on Monday they were sick. I was like, really? I haven't had any trouble.
Touched that one. Yeah, it's never where you think it is, to be honest. I thought I'd get it in New York, but ended up in Sydney at the very end. One more email we have from Fritz in Germany. He says, hello, Chuck and Craig. Best wishes from Munich or München. Life, or in this case, death, imitates art. I just stumbled onto an article in the German newspaper Der Spiegel with a nice picture of a futuristic pod. Translated headline, how would someone like to die? Without suffering, self-determined, and with a nice view, states the physician and inventor Philip Nitschke. Or Philip Nitschke. Let me do a quick screen share on that. Let's see. Add to stream. There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting pod. He says, of course, my first thought was, this is the Thanatorium out of Soylent Green. One prediction out of a science fiction movie gets reality right on the spot, predicted for this very year. Like, whoa, okay then.
Wow.
Quick search on the web even brought me to a web page stating it had been legalized in Switzerland for use in 2022. But now, the cold hard facts. Digging further, this device is real, but it has been invented at least 3 years ago in 2019. And the claim, he provides all these links. We'll throw them in the show notes in a bit. And the claim that it's been legalized in Switzerland doesn't stand up to the fact checking as well. But we can console us with the thought that hoverboards are overdue 7 years and counting as well. 101, everybody. Thank you for your great podcast, Fritz the German. Well, thank you very much, Fritz. Let's go back to our regular layout here.
Yeah, sorry I missed that one early on.
That's right.
It's actually not that far back. So
that takes care of our listener feedback. Thank you, everybody who got that to us.
Another letter from our listener today.
Clinton says, isn't that exactly what they do in Soylent Green?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I was hoping more for the suicide booth on Futurama, but okay.
Yeah.
History time, right?
That's right.
On this day in history for August 3rd, 2022, it is the 215th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are some carry the -3 150 days remaining in 2022. It was on this date in 1492. Why does that number sound familiar? Well, that's the year that Christopher Columbus set sail from Palos de la Frontera, Spain.
All right. 495 years ago today, the first known letter from North America was sent by John Rutt while at St. John's, Newfoundland.
Where did he send it to?
He just put it in a bottle and sent it on the ocean.
I sent a letter.
Yeah, done. Check that off my bucket
Got
list.
me a ticket on an airplane. It was on this date in 1678 that Robert LaSalle built the Le Griffon, the first known ship built on the Great Lakes.
That same date in 1859, the American Dental Association was founded in Niagara Falls, New York.
That's an incredible Jeopardy question. You would never have guessed that's where the ADA was started.
No, I wouldn't have.
The Firestone Tire and Rubber Company was founded on this date in 1900. Another fun fact about Firestone today. In church, we sang hymn number 721.
Which was?
An old tire by Firestone, the 721. Don't you remember the old commercial? 7 wires wrapped surrounding 2 in a core, wrapped by 1. They called it the 721.
That's pretty deep cut there, Chuck.
Yeah, well, made an impression on me.
Right.
That was because the tire ran over my head.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Coming full circle. That same date in 1958, the world's first nuclear submarine, the USS Nautilus, became the first vessel to complete a submerged transit of the geographical North Pole.
It's nuclear, so you have to say vessel.
Nuclear.
The first vessel.
First vessel.
On August 3rd, 1977, Tandy Corporation announced the TRS-80, also known as the Trash 80, one of the world's first mass-produced personal computers.
And 25 years ago today, I don't know why I tripped over that. Today, the tallest freestanding structure in the Southern Hemisphere, Sky Tower in downtown Auckland, New Zealand, opened for 2.5 years of construction.
Maybe you were thinking about turducken or something.
Turducken. Yeah, after 2.5 years of turducken.
Happy birthday goes out to this day. 2 American businessmen founded the Otis Elevator Company. That's right. David Gray. No, his name was Elisha Otis because he started the Otis Elevator Company.
Oh, man, I've seen Otis elevators everywhere.
Don't get me started. I will start naming elevator brands. He was born on this date in 1811.
And John T. Scopes, the American educator, was born on that same date in 1900. He made the scope.
No. Do you know the Scopes monkey trial? That's the guy.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. American chemist and theorist Sidney Gottlieb was born 104 years ago today.
And American singer and actor Tony Bennett was born on this same date in 1926.
It did that last week too, didn't it?
What? Oh, the music stuff?
Music just cut out.
We have to revisit that.
Yeah, we got to look at that. Something's up. As soon as you stopped talking, it died. Right. Born August 3rd, 1935, Ukrainian-Russian general pilot and astronaut Georgy Shonin.
And also born on that same date in 1941, American businesswoman, publisher, and author, founded Martha Stewart Living, Omnimedia. It was Martha Stewart.
Her name was Martha Omnimedia.
Yeah.
Also turning 72 today is actor, director, producer, and screenwriter John Landis. Holy smokes, he's 72.
Wow, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Also born on that same date in 1951, American actor Jay North.
What's he known for, Craig?
Jay North wasn't he on Sex and the City?
No.
I don't know. Who was
Dennis
he on?
the Menace. Dennis the Menace.
Oh, that's right. Of course.
Mr. Wilson!
Right.
Japanese chemist and engineer Nobel Prize laureate Koichi Tanaka was born in the state in 1959. We also have some listener birthdays. August 4th is Clark and Diana, awesome people, and the kids of Gary from Jacksonville. Hot dang. Gary's got twins.
Well, it's not really news now, but yes.
2 birthdays on August 6th. Fritz the German, who wrote us that wonderful thing about Soylent Green earlier, and my daughter Julie.
All right.
She used to be on the podcast a long
She was on a good bit too.
Ago. Yeah.
You can go back on the YouTube channel and go watch her
Usurp and there's some freestyle episodes from circa 2006 she was on.
It was great.
Philippa Ballantyne is on the 8th, and on the 9th is Matt Coe and Julia Pose. We have an ID or a trailer thing, a stinger for her.
See?
She reached out recently.
See what I'm saying? She's what?
She reached out to me recently on LinkedIn.
She said, "Do not call my birthday out anymore." No, that's pretty cool.
She's still out there.
So did you see the honorable mention down there?
Honorable mention is George Jetson on July 31st. Hey, we celebrate Elvis's birthday still, so we can get George. Is he on the calendar officially, Craig? Or did you just
No, but I did this week. It came out that in Wikipedia or whatever, his birthday was listed as July 31st, 2022. You know,
he was just born like today as we record this.
Yes,
or maybe he's in the labor room right now.
No, well, him and his mom.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where did you get that canonical crazy information?
It was all over the place the other day. His birthday was coming up.
Funny.
Yeah.
Maybe it might turn out to be shenanigans like, Tony Dow a day before. But anyway, that's the way it was on this day in history for August 3rd, 2022, as we release this, but we record it on July 31st. If you want to get on the birthday calendar, Craig's going to put up a banner for all of our viewers.
Yep. Banner, birthday calendar. There we go.
chuckchat.com/birthdays where you can go. Apparently some people have been putting some stuff on there. Thank you very much. Fritz wasn't on there a little while ago. He recently entered that, and you can too. chuckchat.com/birthday will give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. If it is your birthday and you're not on the calendar, we wish you all the best anyway. Okay, let's get into the core content, or as we say on the other show, the main mission. But we don't need Charlie X on this one. Many of you have probably already heard the news by the time you read this or hear this or see this. Nichelle Nichols, who was greatly known and loved in the Star Trek community as Lieutenant Uhura on the original series, has passed away at the age of 89. She was also a very, very wonderful woman for recruiting for the space shuttle program and women in space and a lot of other really well-known things. She was able to turn that celebrity status into a real powerful force. So she will be greatly missed.
Yeah. After watching that documentary, I'm trying to remember the exact name of it, The Woman in Motion or
something like that. Yeah, I think that's right.
When she did that recruiting, that was eye-opening. I mean, you know about the stuff that you see all the time, or even today we see all the time because we watch Star Trek so much. But yeah, seeing that stuff was really an eye opener and gave me a even deeper respect for her.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. All right, did you fix the second link in here yet?
No, but I can. I forgot you texted me about that. Sorry.
Again, see what I have to work with.
Oh, come on!
The man's got a million ideas, but he can't fix a link.
I'm busy.
Okay. We're going to start with the first article then. I will start. We talked about this a little while ago. This is a small-scale nuclear reactor that a company was working on. Well, NuScale will get the final approval nearly 6 years after starting the process of building and constructing and getting this thing confirmed. So the idea is instead of building a nuclear reactor on site, let's say, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 3 Mile Island, and there's lots of custom things you need to do, and you've got to have construction crews, and it takes years and years to build these things. They're going to have actually small scale ones that you can ship and build out. It looks kind of like a fancy water heater, or maybe the Genesis device, if you want to look at it that way.
Maybe a little bit. The really cool thing about it is self-containing, and so if something does go wrong, it can disable itself.
So the idea of nuclear reactors is you've got uranium. I'm not going to claim to know everything there is to know about this, but you've got a nuclear fuel uranium rods, whatever it is, and you control them with control rods. Okay, so these slide down to cool things off, and when you pull them out, the uranium heats up the water more, so you can control how hot the water is. And when you hear about a meltdown, it means the control rods weren't working, and
It means
things
it
went
fell
off.
on the floor and threw a tantrum.
The nice thing about this one is that the control rods are gravity fed, so if the power goes out to this thing, boom, they go down, and they basically shut down the reaction, or at least limit it so small that a runaway reaction is near. I won't say the impossible word, but it greatly mitigates that risk. And there's no operator. You don't need a Homer Simpson on this thing. Actually, Homer Simpson probably could run this thing because it doesn't take anything.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's monitoring them or servicing them, but
I'm sure there's some there you can monitor it at least for, yeah, I would monitor it.
There's an app on your phone.
Yeah. You're sitting there, oh yeah, we're good. Yeah. Well, how big was this? Do you actually know?
It didn't show, it didn't tell the true size, but I got the feeling that from the previous article, it wasn't like a 3-story building tall. It was something more on the lines of 12, 15 feet high.
Yeah, because
but I could be wrong.
I'm trying to remember if we talked about it, but I remember seeing an article. It's been about a year or two now. Maybe it was somehow, I want to say it was tied to Bill Gates, but they were looking at small nuclear power plants like this, but smaller in the sense that you could have one in neighborhoods and it was safe like this. It could be this one.
How do you
but it would be in the neighborhood. So it would be in the neighborhood. So it was localized and they were spread out instead of having one big one, down the road.
Well, it almost sounds like the old days when they first started electrifying the United States. The idea was you needed a power generation plant like at each factory. So there was no standardization of plugs or voltages or whatever. It was whatever that factory needed. Hey, we'll build a generator, a power shack out back. So this is almost feels like he's getting back to that.
Brad Miller says unsinkable.
Nuclear reactor is unsinkable.
Well, no, think of the other thing they said it was impossible to destroy.
I'm not. That's why I didn't want to go there. I don't have the hubris to claim the Titanic was unsinkable.
It is hard. I mean, I try my best not to speak in broad terms, saying, "Oh, it'll never happen," or these, whatever doesn't do, because inevitably it will somehow.
All right, moving on to our next story. Thank you for fixing the link. This is a very fascinating one. I don't have time to read it, but it certainly looks cool. AI to restore old photos and create slightly new ones. I want to put that back up on the screen. Check this out. So instead of retouching these up with Photoshop or something, what do? Upload them to a site and away you go?
Yeah. So if I remember right, this was a free service. And you can upload a picture, as you can see the example at the top there, of the
and there's
broken picture, like
it's
been folded or something every once in a while. It's been torn up a little bit, and then you come away with one with the missing pieces back in there, which is pretty awesome. There's a whole video there that explains how it works, and you can try a demo of it. There it is for free. Oh, maybe there is a cost associated to it, but there is you can try it for free. So we have a picture, you can give it a try.
They sharpened up Muhammad Ali. And Bill Gates.
There were some other examples, where they cleaned up pictures, not necessarily just fix the errors. And like the Muhammad Ali, what's the other one? There was another important one in there.
Oh, an Airtable. Look they cleaned that up. Great. I'm not sure what was going on there. And some API docs. Oh, there we go. So you can tweak the. Are they? So
I'm curious to go. My mom and dad have a box of
old photos,
all our old photos, and I'm sure there's a few in there that are broken. I don't think I've got any bad photos like that, but
I'll have to look. Yeah, I don't think I have too many of these. If I did, they were already scanned or taken digitally, but they were in a frame already, restored. But good to know. Good to know. I'm not going to continue that too much further. So
that is pretty cool.
I like these kinds of uses for AI as opposed to the dark subject we're coming up on a little later in this show. I like the way you kind of tied things together this time, Craig.
Yeah, a lot of AI
Oh,
going on.
speaking of the next article, is that article?
Bad news, everybody.
Yeah, we can do that. Where'd it go?
Where does it at?
Oh, now I have no sound effects.
Oh, all right.
Uh-oh. It's gonna be hard to run the show. You
Bad
talk
news,
about
everyone.
this. So, tell us who is Eric Schmidt?
Eric Schmidt's the former Google CEO. He was there for quite a while and really kind of took Google to a high point that they were at since going public.
Anyway, he did a talk or something recently. Is that where this came from?
He does a talk. Actually, he does a lot of things, kind of like Bill Gates. He'll study on a subject really hard and kind of understand it pretty deep. And he was talking about how AI could be as dangerous, like compared to nuclear weapons, as far as a deterrence, to cyber security or
blow up the world, kind of dangerous
into the network war, like a cyber war. Saying cyber war sounds a little cheesy, but you get the idea.
I think it was, as I was reading this, it felt a little dramatic, but he makes a good point that when we first started kind of using nuclear weapons, there wasn't any regulation. Anybody could have it. Yeah. And you could do your testing above ground, and then it went underground, and then we came up with the SALT II treaty to sort of, non-proliferation acts. We don't have that regulation over AI. And there's a couple of quotes at the bottom. It says, AI is a reflection of its creator. It can't level a city with a 1.2 megaton blast, not unless a human teaches it to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what really grabbed my attention was a long time ago, I remember somebody was talking about how dangerous AI could be, and it's because as a computer, it can be thinking faster than a person, and it can, as soon as it gets into like your bank account, then it's into another account. Maybe it's guessing your passwords because it knows all your information, and it kind of snowballs from there. And it's not just me, but other people that use services or whatnot to get into all your information's online. As soon as it starts understanding all these bits of information that belong to Chuck, and maybe we can guess his password because we know his birthday and his mother's maiden name, and then empty that account and maybe go and so on and so forth. So to think of it in that terms, this does make a lot of sense. How things can get out of hand really quick. Maybe it does launch a missile. Who knows?
There we go. Sound effects are back.
Yeah. So maybe it does launch a missile. Maybe it's able to break into a computer system that's in charge of the nuclear weapons.
Nuclear vessels.
So it can. I think it can get out of hand. But of course,
it's something to consider. But again, I think it was a little dramatic.
No, you think it's dramatic? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to make a point, but in a very dramatic way, and leverage his name to say, not the sky is falling, but hey, shout it from the rooftops. Hey, everybody, beware. Again, a fair point, but to compare it to nuclear weapons, it's like, yeah, maybe. All right, let's get on with the hacks and strange stories, shall we?
All right.
This is a curious one that this man made his own homemade mobile is in quotes here. Yeah. I want to share some images of that as well.
It's cool.
Perseus 9 homemade mobile computer. Homemade. Okay. This is built off of his previous invention, the Perseus 8. The Perseus 8, however, had to use a serial terminal. And this one, he wanted, an actual display built in. It is cool looking. It looks really heavy. He took a standard enclosure that we'll go through some of these pictures. You can see it's got a 40 by, what was it? It's 8 line, 10 line, 40 characters by 10 line.
Yep.
LED character display, or 7 line, 40 by 7. So it's not standard. He made it out of it's based on two 6502 processors, although somewhere in the article it said like 6802 serial terminal, blah, 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 for the display. Everything is breadboarded and hand wire wrapped. I mean, kudos to this guy for not only putting the hardware together, figuring out the enclosure, figuring out the firmware. He had to hand write all of the BIOS routines.
Yeah.
And he leveraged his old computer to load those up, much in the same way that the Apple II was used for the Lisa. If you know your old, no, I'm sorry. The Lisa was used to help bootstrap up the Macintosh project. Got that backwards. So it was the enclosure he got from a standard place, but this, I don't know what this thing was originally for, but it has a rubber gasket O-ring around it.
Oh yeah. I was trying to remember. Did he say somewhere in here what that original casing was? It looks like
he said the enclosure is a die-cast aluminum case HQ26186N, manufactured by Takachi of Japan, which is used. The enclosure is designed to be waterproof and dustproof for outdoor equipment.
It looks like a junction for your cable.
It kind of does. It's got that. It's got that die-cast look. But it has a keyboard layout, and he just used what's a tool called a reamer to make the holes bigger to fit his buttons on the keyboard. And then he obviously cut holes in the side for all the various switches and connectors and serial terminals. There was a picture, or maybe it was in the video. Let's go to this one. There we go. This is the photo gallery I was talking about. So there's not a space bar, but a space button on the far right. One shift key. Apparently he does have a shift, so he's got some shift operations on the numbers, like obviously shift 1 is an exclamation, shift 2 is whatever.
Yeah.
Again, you have to know a lot about the electronics, the mechanical bits of this, wire wrapping, hardware, software. I'm impressed because I used to work for an electrical engineering design team, and this would have been what Wozniak was working on like in 1977, 1978.
Yeah.
This has a lot of feeling of those early days.
Yeah,
so I found it fascinating that he took this project, some 40 plus years later, that has this real retro feel. I don't know what he plans to do with it other than say, maybe put it on his resume.
Well, he's using it for terminal emulation on this one box. I'm not sure what this box is.
He's got a like a basic interpreter in here. You can see he's got some code on the screen. K equals K plus.
Wait a minute.
I or
scroll
K.
down a little bit.
It's reverse Polish notation. K equals K 1 plus $. I don't know what that is. Scroll down a little bit. There's nothing below the photo.
Go back to the go back to the article. I was going to show you, or keep going in the photo gallery. I'm sorry.
Yes. What are
Maybe
you
it's in
for?
there.
Tell me what you're looking for.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I know.
Oh, his little his I mean, just to come up with design documents like this.
Yeah. No, there was yeah, keep going. There's I'll tell you when to stop.
Wire wraps on the other. Yeah. There's 2 main boards in here, and the video is fun to watch.
There you go. He's using it for terminal emulation on that box right there. I'm not sure what that box is.
No. You got to read the article, Craig. This is his Perseus 8.
Right.
And he's using it to load up the ROMs and whatnot on the Perseus 9.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
That's his old one. This is his new one. A lot of fun. Pretty darn cool, if you ask me. I have other pet projects. That would be when I just started thinking about what all was involved in building that, it was pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
So shout out to the chat room.
Let's
take a look. We have Brad Miller, John Miller Jr., Mike Robeson, Clinton Alvord. Did we miss anybody?
Brad Miller.
I said Brad Miller.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
Again, not listening.
What? I quit paying attention when you said something.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. There's our next sticker. Those are going to Dragon Con. Technorama. I quit listening when you said something. All right. Join us on Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern if you happen to be around. We'd love to hear from you. AI will rickroll us to Armageddon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Could be. Could
That's
be.
right.
9:30 Eastern, go to our Facebook page or YouTube. We broadcast this on both. We will get messages from either. Wherever you are, send us a message, and we would love to hear from you and see you in the live chat. Okay, 2 things in Remember When. So let's roll that Remember When music. First one is a Coca-Cola can from the Space Shuttle Mission 51.
Hey, and it's the original Coke, not new Coke.
Right. From 1985. I have to show you this. This also has a photo gallery. We try not to do too many visuals on this because we know a lot of people listen to the audio podcast, but we will do our best to describe this as well.
Yeah.
This is the Coke can adapted for space. Now, obviously, you can't just take a can of Coke up into the space shuttle or the International Space Station, open it up, or it's going to fizz all over the place straight out of the can.
You can't drink. You can't drink just Tang up there.
Well, they wanted to give them something additional, and Coke took lead on this. Pepsi followed up soon after, as soon as they found out what Coke was up to. And it's this assembly that goes on the top of the can that, you pull the plug, push the lever, put your mouth on the mouthpiece, and
I'm wondering, is it pressurized or something? Because look at the bottom of the can; it has like a little nozzle, almost like a spray can, like
almost
a spray
like
paint can.
The bottom of your shaving cream,
or something like that.
You're talking about
here it is.
That shot, yeah. I would believe it has some sort of pressurization in there.
Yeah, it probably does to make it.
And then there's one where they have the Pepsi one looks like a can of Cheese Whiz.
Yeah. Hey, wait. We're Pepsi. We need to. Yeah, Pepsi just called and they want to get in on the action.
It's the old Pepsi logo that says Pepsi Cola.
Mm-hmm.
And it says right on here, you can see Pepsi Cola celebrates our first flight in space, July 1985. One giant, I'm going to guess that's a sip for mankind.
Probably.
Or maybe my giant step for mankind.
Soda.
I got to admit, though, the Pepsi one looks easier to use than this Coke robot thing.
Yeah. I could see somebody shake it up. Here, Joe, have a Coke. And then, go because they shook it up.
That would be all over the place. That's exactly what they were trying to avoid. I don't know how you test this thing. Another fun one. Make that a little bigger for you. The first Apple tablet from 1979. This worked with the Apple II. And it measured 15 inches by 15 inches by something. I forgot exactly. Cost, what was it? $650. Worked on a serial port.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the image in the background. The Utopia graphics tablet system. Now, the part that I found interesting was this line. The software was titled Utopia Graphics System, and believe it or not, was developed by musician Todd Rundgren. Go look it up, kids.
Isn't that funny?
Hello, it's me. And what was the other one? I heard. No. Oh, I forgot what his other song was. I've even sung it before.
It's funny to read that because people like Brian May from Queen, he had a hand in on the New Horizons to Pluto.
Yes.
It's like
in my eyes.
Like that. And it's like you're like, what?
Yep. So it didn't work real well. The industrial, I like this. The back of the device looks like, well, let's just say that Apple's design prowess has come a long way. Yeah, Johnny Ive was clearly not involved with this unit.
Yeah.
The one they have, the real model they have has like this water stain on it.
Right.
And I like this one. It says, below is the reference manual for the Apple graphics tablet from 1979. And check out the bottom left. The first indication that Snow Leopard was in the work dates back 30 years.
They planned it a long time ago. That's pretty cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun stuff. That looks like one of those things you'd find at like one of those electronics recycling stores.
Yeah.
What is it, Grandpa?
You know what? When I was looking at this, I was thinking back about, my dad did a lot of AutoCAD. He was an electrical designer, and he did a lot of AutoCAD, and there were a lot of people that were pushing against it.
He did electrical design on AutoCAD?
Yeah.
That's unusual. That's not an electrical design tool.
I disagree. So, well, he made a living doing it. What are you talking about? Disagree.
It feels like he was using a saw for a hammer's job, but okay.
No. No, back in the day, there wasn't many options, but
well, back in what day? First of all, I hate that expression. I'm going to
the
scream
80s
right now.
I'm talking
in the 80s. There were.
I'm talking in the time frame that we're talking about this tablet.
That's when I was working at Plexus, Craig. I know exactly what tools were available.
I know. Wait a minute. Listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. So Dad was doing AutoCAD. Computers were starting to show up. And then you think about when this came out or was available,
in 79,
you could have used things like this to
use things like this because the printed circuit board engineers that I was working with worked on something called a Calais system. And it had these things. It had a touchpad in the
I've
early 80s.
I've had people give me old tablets that look similar to this, but they're not. I wasn't Apple, but yeah.
Yeah, it was precursors to the Wacom tablets or the Bamboo tablets. Yep.
But yeah, Dad used AutoCAD for electrical design, as in for buildings. So when they have a building design and they're routing cables through the walls and all that stuff, that's what they did. That's what Dad did.
That's okay. That's you and I had a different definition of what electrical engineering is.
Yeah, electrical engineering. Well, yeah, that's what he did.
I was thinking like electronics and circuit boards and schematic diagrams.
Not that deep. No, not that low level.
You were talking about commercial wiring.
Electrical, not electronic. But yeah,
that I can see. Yeah, AutoCAD is a good tool for that as well.
I'll tell you a story. It's his story, but I'll tell you. He did a design on for a plant in AutoCAD, and there was this guy that was pushing hard against using computers at all. So he told Dad to delete.
He was pushing hard against using computers.
Yeah, well, he didn't
fire his butt.
Obviously, the guy didn't understand it. That was the thing. So he told Dad to delete all these files. Of course, Dad just copied them to an extra floppy and set it aside. But what happened was they did it all on paper. The customer said, "Oh, we're having to shift the design 7 feet."
Right.
Tilt it. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. So that means they had to go back and redo all the paper. So Dad pulled up. He tried to tell the guy, if they make changes like this, we can affect change pretty quick. So Dad pulled up that AutoCAD, shifted it, and he was done. As opposed to it would take you another week to
select all. Drag.
Yeah,
done.
So, but he's worked on nuclear power plants and all kinds of industrial stuff. It's really cool. Some of the things he's done. But anyway, cool. Yeah, AutoCAD was a big thing in the 80s for sure.
It was like early Photoshop. It wasn't that powerful and it was harder to use.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, talking about electronics like you're talking about, you can even design a board in your web browser and test it and then order it.
That
which is really cool.
Tens of thousands of dollars of licensed software 30 years ago when I was doing that stuff.
Yeah. Now
it was incredibly expensive. You needed a very expensive workstation, you needed very expensive software. And now, you can do it on the web. You can order out a handful of circuit boards and have them back. We've done that at work. Anyway, let's get on to the patrons because we still have our movies and TV and whatnot to review of what we've been watching. So patrons first, as I always say. Thank you. Thank you very much to everybody who contributes to the show. You are the founders. You are the people who fund this entire organization. You keep us going, and we greatly, greatly appreciate that. To the likes of Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman. Thank you, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC. Thank you, Dan DeMan Coyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros. Thank you, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Shrawen, and Crazy Joe. Wow, that's a whole bunch of J's on one line.
Yeah, it is.
Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Matt Baum, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media. Thank you, Stephen Weshy, Steve Therian, Steve Cody, and Sweet Steve London has upgraded as of this week.
He's a platinum member now.
He has increased. So thank you very much. He took his membership level up a notch, and we greatly appreciate that. So even if you're already contributing, something to consider. And Tim Cook. Yes, that Tim Cook and that John Noble. We're just getting famous people listening to Technorama. Yeah. We can dream, can't we? our CEO tells us to dream big and dream even bigger. So we'll figure it out one of these days. If you would like to join this family, get your name read out on the show in great appreciation, as well as another episode of Technorama where we don't do a whole bunch of sound effects and production and whatnot. We have a discussion right after this show concludes. We go and record the Patreon show that comes out on Mondays. So you get to hear our innermost thoughts about some of the things we've been up to, some insights that we may or may not have. You know, we're not authorities, but we just take a wandering conversation and you get to wander with us.
Yep.
Oh, well, I might have just tread on Mark Kilfoyle's gag of wandering.
But yeah. Oh, don't say anything.
Patreon.com/Technorama podcast for as little as $1 a show. And you can be part of this and get your name read while some cool music plays. Not anymore. It's done.
Yeah.
Now we go on to Pass Me the Remote. We've been watching a lot this last week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first part of the week, Donna was still, COVID isolated.
I was going to ask you how's she doing now?
She tested negative on, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're living together again. So I'm celebrating. Yep.
Yeah.
I no longer have to sleep in the studio. But I thought that was the perfect work-life balance because work was 4 feet to my left and
I don't know.
Life was 4 feet to my right.
Yeah. Yeah. Working from home is a double-edged sword sometimes, but yes.
Hey, it's no different than sleeping at the office. Well,
we
my office.
About that. I've done that.
Okay. What do you got? Well, let's alternate. Well, I've got 3, you've got 2, so I'll go first and then I can end. So okay. I had a real quick, I had a rewatch of Office Space. Still a funny movie. Gets funnier every time.
Yeah.
Holds up well. I mean, yeah, the technology's getting a little odd as we spoke about.
But the social commentary is still there.
And it works on so many levels. If you're a manager, it's got some funny elements in there that only managers would appreciate. If you are an individual contributor, it works well there. And it just reiterated something I forgot, like the main key plot point when the guy was hypnotizing him to be nice and relaxed and then he keels over from a heart attack and he's left in this hypnotic state. And that's why he suddenly doesn't give a crap about anything. It goes into work. And,
he's all chilled out. Yeah.
Catch the fish and all that stuff. And that it gives him the courage to ask out Joanna at Tchotchke's.
There's so many good quotes from that movie.
There are.
Yeah.
There are. Hey, Peter.
Yeah. I know. Oh my God. Dietrich Bader kills me in that movie.
It took me a while. I'm like, where else have I seen this guy? He's Rex from Napoleon Dynamite. The guy who does Rex Kwon Do.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And there are some other good characters.
He was on the
Beverly
Hillbillies movie.
He's on what?
He was on the Beverly Hillbillies movie.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, he's Jethro. You can see he would fit right in.
He would fit right in as a good Jethro.
Yeah.
Do what I do. Go on IMDb and start researching some of these names and find out where they've gone since this movie came out in 97. The other one I watched real quick was Shaun of the Dead. Classic. It's one of those movies that you kind of have to train yourself to like. I honestly, if you're just watching it by yourself and you're going, I don't get it. It's fun to watch with other people who have watched it before. I call this the Holy Grail effect or the Napoleon Dynamite effect. So it's one of those movies, and it gets better towards the end. The first part I was watching going, I remember this being better. It starts out kind of slow. It really does. And then, kind of ramps up.
Yeah. Shaun of the Dead is awesome.
Okay. What have you got?
I watched The Man from Toronto. It had Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart. I like Kevin Hart.
Okay.
And I like Woody Harrelson as well.
What's it about?
So it's like a mistaken identity thing. So Woody Harrelson plays the Man from Toronto. Apparently there's lots of different man from name your city. There's
Man from Uncle, Man from Atlantis.
Yeah. Miami. They're hitmen and they're supposed to be really good at what they do. Well, Kevin Hart gets pulled in. He reads the address wrong on the place he's taking his wife for like a holiday. And he goes to the wrong house. And then the guys are like, all right, you must be the Man from Toronto. Come on down. And takes him down to question this guy. like or get some information from him, and they're torturing him, and he's like, "What?" Kevin Hart's trying to feel. It gets mistaken as the man from Toronto, and kind of goes from there. It's a little longer, I think it should be, but
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes had it at like 22%.
Is it a movie or a series?
That's just a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of funny. Kim kind of enjoyed it. Like I said, I like those two guys, and did a pretty good job.
My other one is also from Netflix, Resident Evil. It's the 2022 one. So 6 episodes that just came out. Very good. Oh my
Really?
gosh. Yeah, this is sort of a continuation of, the Milla Jovovich Resident Evil ones.
Yeah.
This is like New Raccoon City in South Africa. I can't remember the actor's name. He played the bald guy on Fringe.
Lawrence Reddick?
That's probably
Lance Reddick, excuse me.
That's it. Yeah. And I'm not going to give you a spoiler, but they put his acting skills to a chop because his acting skills really get put to the test, and he's got the chops to step up to it too. Because at first he starts out with that same kind of, straight figure, like, I'm a scientist and we're going to get it done. There's nothing you can say. I love my daughters, that kind of thing. And then later in the series, you'll see it's like, whoa, great acting. He really goes all over the place. He has to, and again, not going to ruin it. The two girls, they did a great job because it's sort of a flashback and flash forward thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie, the series starts out in the year 2038, and the actor says, things really. They say the world ends in 2038. I say it ended a long time ago, and then they zap back to 2022, where he gets the job in New Raccoon City, or they transfer to South Africa. And of course, the girls are being rebellious teenagers, with the attitude at first.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what gets them into trouble. So they're jumping between 2038 and 2022. And the actresses, the young girls at 16, and the older girl at whatever it would be 16 years later, 32, maybe. Great job matching. Whoever did the casting on this, you honestly believe these are the same people at two different ages. So partly because of the acting, partly because of the casting, it's really, even the facial features, which you think are going to be hard to match.
Really?
They did a great job.
Have you seen any of the Resident Evil stuff before?
I've seen them all.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen 0.
Okay. Oh man, you are missing out. You are missing out on some great zombie love.
I say I got some homework now.
Dare I even say zombie porn?
Hey, by the way, John Miller Jr. said Dietrich Bader was Batman in the series Batman and the Brave and the Bold, which, yes, you're right, because I loved that Batman Brave and the Bold. It was, it wasn't like a serious kind of Batman. He would pretend to be serious, but he was always having to be teamed up with somebody like Aquaman or that kind of stuff. So I loved it. It was great. Batman Brave and the Bold was good. So I just wanted to give a shout out. The series isn't over yet, but it's the Orville. You've been watching the Orville, right?
I have to take a time out. We were jumping into it. We got a little confused because season 2 make it look like a war happened or something. It's like suddenly they hate these people. So we went back into season 1 and watched the last 2 episodes. They didn't clear it up. It was like this alternate timeline thing. And I was like, well, if it was alternate timeline, why is this rift still there? And I went, Craig has to explain this before I can move on, because I am lost, and season 2 is supposed to be good, and I don't want to be lost at the beginning.
No, season 2 was pretty good. Season 3 was great. That's the season.
I'm sorry, season 3? Yes, I started watching season 3, and that's the beginning of season 3 confused me, honestly.
Yeah, you need to back up and watch a little bit at the end of season 2.
I did that, and then it was the alternate reality thing. It's like, well, why should they, if it wasn't real, why should they be in this predicament now? It didn't make any sense. It was kind of like, if Marty McFly came back and Biff was still a bully or something. It's like, what? No, that didn't make any sense.
Well,
so I'll try to sort that out with you offline, and then maybe we can start season 3 again. But for the moment, we're watching something else, which I will get into in a couple of weeks because it's really, really good.
All right. So the reason I wanted to put a shout out to the Orville because one, I think every episode in season 3, and I don't think I'm alone, has had so much heart and really good storytelling. It is amazing what they've done, turned around. You know, the first 2 seasons, especially the first one, had a little more humor. They toned it down a little bit for season 2, and now they've hit this great stride. There's a little bit of humor, but it's not, it's more like the level that Star Trek had some humor. There were some jokes here and there. But I really think that season 3 is off the charts. And there's a couple of cameos. I'm not going to say them all, but there was one very small one that I thought was humorous. In the last episode was I recognized Joe from Blue's Clues. Not Steve, but Joe, the guy that came after that. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
Well, there's a security officer and he's got the uniform on and he turns the corner and he kind of looks over at the camera and I'm like, I know that guy. Wait, that's Joe from Blue's Clues.
We just got a letter.
Right.
That would have been over the top.
So he had a very small part, and I'm not going to say anything about it because it could spoil it for somebody. But yeah, that last episode. The last episode was so good.
Maybe you should start a podcast called "The Topic Is the Orville."
I know I should. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and there's a lot of call for the Orville to be renewed for season 4. And there was some talk about it, not that this would be the last season, but I'm not sure that's the case. I think they're getting so much good press from this season that they would be shooting themselves in the foot to put that show to bed.
Somebody puts an offer on the table. That's hard to say no. Money often moves things where they
if you enjoy TNG, it's right in there with TNG. I'm telling you, it's great.
Yeah. My final one is, I already mentioned season 1 of this show, but season 2 takes it in a different direction. The Great Greek Myths. I have to say that slowly because I can't say it quickly. Season 1 was sort of an introduction to the characters. Zeus, Hera, Hermes, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Season 2 covers the Iliad. Now, we're all probably aware of it and wish we had read it, but it is a tough read. Because first of all, I'm listening to it. I happen to have downloaded it on Audible when I was subscribed to that. And once you download, once you've got things in your library, they stay there, even if you're not paying the monthly subscription anymore, which is kind of nice. And I went, hey, I've got the Iliad. Putting this show together with the Audible book. First of all, the Audible book doesn't tell you why the Trojan War started. It's just like, jump right in. Like, what? No, you got to have the context for this thing. The show sets up which gods are on the sides of the Greeks and the Trojans. And it is a fascinating story, although a little protracted. And it's so I'm listening. My listening is a few chapters behind, but there are some things that the audiobook goes into really deep that the show skimmed over. And there's some things that the show does well that the audiobook, I'm like, I am lost at this point. Thank goodness I can picture it in my head from the TV show. So 10 episodes making up the Iliad. I don't know what spurred this interest, but suddenly I want to know more about these Greek stories, the mythology, the gods, what they did, why they did it, what led to what. It's
also
fascinating.
Also, all those stories, they influenced a lot of the stories we talk about here today. Or
they still do. Yeah. I mean, there's I forgot who it was. One of the gods was, it might have been Zeus. When Zeus was little, he was nursed. He was nursed.
Oh, by the way, that's coming out on Netflix next year. Little Zeus. I'm kidding.
He was nursed by a goat. He drank goat's milk straight from the goat.
Okay.
And
not pasteurized, raw.
No. Yep, raw goat milk. And as sort of a honor to that, he cast an image of the goat in the stars, and that's where we get the constellation Capricorn. In fact, most of the constellations of the zodiac are from Greek mythology. So keep that in mind. That's on Amazon, by the way.
Yeah.
That's all we have for this episode. We leave you with another question of the week, which we will put on social media.
By the way, there is something else I watched, and I can't. I didn't write it down because I was, but I know there's something else.
Check your viewing history, man.
On which service?
Or take notes.
I need RSS feeds from all those services. I can bring them together.
Just take notes.
Oh, speaking of RSS, Dog Days of Podcasting starts.
You already mentioned that at the top of the show.
I'm excited about it. I'm ready to start. I think it's gonna be fun.
All right, dogdaysofpodcasting.com.
Yeah, you can subscribe, or you can still sign up if you want. I know it's a couple days in by the time you hear this, but why not?
Question of the week, because we're already at an hour plus.
Whatever. It's podcasting.
What is something younger people may not know about the early days of the internet? And as I was reading some of these examples on Reddit, they were pathetically not the early days of the internet, in my opinion. Well, they were going back to 2005. Like, you kids are funny.
I know. Well, even some of those, even something that's not that old, was 20 or it's 15, 20 years ago,
Okay. Well, I'm not going to condemn our listeners yet, or viewers. I want to know what you think. Kids these days don't really realize what they may not know about the early days of the internet. And
IRC, I think IRC was a big eye opener for me in more ways than one. But yes, I won't go into that now. But I really enjoyed IRC, and how about the little construction gif, the guy digging,
just about every page had an under construction, even if it wasn't under, and a page counter.
The little guy was digging some digital dirt, wasn't he?
I mean, the closest you get to a page counter these days is some pages have like a view count on them. Like if you're reading in forums or something.
Oh,
I know our community software that we use at ServiceNow has a view count.
Oh yeah. There was one comment in here that I thought was hilarious. I hadn't thought about this in a long time. Yahoo had a internet directory that was built by hand. It was supposed to be the complete directory for places to go online. That's laughable now. I mean,
they're even better. There were hard copy directories sent out. People had paper directories.
Yeah, they were trying to be like the phone book. They were trying, something like that. Yeah, there was that. But they had people actually editing these files and putting the links in and stuff. That's just amazing to me.
What you had to do.
Yeah, I mean,
there were no bots crawling around exploring things.
There wasn't great scripting languages to build out these pages automatically.
No, yeah, that was dynamic HTML was like nothing. It didn't exist.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we want to hear your stories, and we are then going to record our Patreon topic of the week. Are you leaving that Reddit link in there or not, Craig?
No, I'm going to take it.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I will. Well, no, I don't want to taint. I don't want to taint everybody's vision of the old internet. I want to hear what they have to say by hand. So
keep it in there for us.
Yeah, I'll leave it
out when you post the show.
Absolutely.
We can compare notes. That takes us to the end. Thank you, everybody, for joining us online live Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern. Thank you for Craig for finding the news stories and aggregating those. We go through thousands and thousands of stories each week and whittle those down to the important ones.
There you go.
I printed out a lot of Lurker's Guide to Babylon 5 when it came out.
That's right.
Printing things out was a common thing, especially with Yahoo
I got
Maps.
an email.
MapQuest. You can get a hold of us, 707-530-2428. And as Craig said, you can also text us. Put that number on the screen there for me, will you, buddy?
Yeah, let me go back.
Email, technorama@chuckchat.com. Twitter, Technorama Podcast. We're just going to add more every day. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube as well, of course. Until next time, stay safe. And Craig's going to give us a binary high five.
All right. 101.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. The recording has ended.
That's right.
Please insert another floppy disk.
Yeah. To continue loading.
Right. All righty. Take those show notes down.
There were some good comments in there. Some were pretty old. Some of them were not quite as old. Like somebody mentioned ICQ. I used to love ICQ.
Yep.
It was a great little text messenger.
That's funny because yesterday Scott Reynolds and I were talking about GeoCities.
Yeah, right.
World's worst homemade web pages. Like,
there you go. How about when people used to post online and they would pay, "Hi, ASL."
The GeoCities, Scott said, they only offered 13 fonts and everybody thought you had to have 12 of them at least on your page.
Yeah. Right.
Flaming logos. All right, we are going to stop the stream and then record our Patreon show. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you to our patrons for supporting us. We will talk to you again real soon. Not next week because I'm going to be out of town, but we'll talk to you on the 14th. I think that will be. Yes.
All right.
So take care, everybody. Thanks.